Hello everybody and welcome to the final extras video for Rodea the Sky Soldier. So last time I showed you all the extras that were available in the Wii version, and now it's time to look at the hideous mess that is the Wii U version of Rodea. The fact that that is what you get when you open the game should tell you pretty much everything. They really didn't give a damn, did Kadokawa Games, when it came to Rodea Wii U. And this is just going to be like the opening bit of the game. So like we had part 1, this is basically what would be a part 1 of the Wii U version. But this is actually the first time that I have played the Wii U version because I refused to do it. When I got the game, I finished the Wii version, I was quite happy with that. I reviewed that because that's what this should have been. And then I just didn't have the heart to ruin it with whatever this is. The only thing that I will say that the Wii U version does that's better than the Wii version is that it's crisper in everything.
Princess Cecilia!
Like, it's a HD version. That is all I can really do. I mean, I suppose there's also a slight improvement in the fluidity between cutscenes. But you get things like that at the start of every chapter, which just that music is just awful.
Princess Cecilia, did they get to you?
And then, have you noticed the complete difference in coloration? It's like during the cutscene on the Wii version, like it was red skies and it was just disastrous, and here it was purple and it's still purple, and it just it's so grim. And then you look at the textures and the models and it's just like, what the hell is this? It looks ugly.
Looks like the battle in the sky is finished.
I mean,
I can head up there now.
I honestly don't know what they did to the artwork on Rodea, but it doesn't look right. It looks washed out. This entire game looks washed out. I mean, look. Rodea's feet are clipping through the grass texture on the floor. And just... oh my god.
Exiting pre-flight mode. Entering flight mode.
The other thing that you probably already noticed is that this version of the game is so much chattier and so much slower. So like, even in the terms of like the tutorials, like it has to load up the screen to give you the text to tell you what to do, and then it just judders along and you're just like, oh my good god, hurry the hell up!
The gauge around the reticle is the flight energy indicator.
Rodea, look, I like you, but please shut up.
Flight, so be careful. Flight energy can be restored by landing or by obtaining gravitons. If I'm out of flight energy, I can use. Now,
this is the biggest problem that I have with Rodea Wii U, at least from my perceptions of the game. So to fly, you have to jump into the air, target, and then you'll slowly fly towards whatever you're kind of pointing at. But you have a limited time in the air unless you're picking up gravitons. So it's very easy to just drop out of the sky, and there is no way of saving yourself.
My armor energy at the lower left will decrease as I
and also, instead of your old school platformer health system where a hit lowers your kind of power level, you have a health bar. And also you get extra lives by getting 100 gravitons. I don't know if that was the same in the original Wii version, but still.
Point to an enemy and fly at it, then press the attack button.
Also, they decided to introduce attacking enemies here, which I mean is fine, I suppose, but
consume extra flight
Just-
energy, so be careful.
Just look at what is going on here.
Even if the reticle is slightly off target, auto-aim will correct it. Don't stop, keep going. After a boost attack,
It's just depressing,
press the attack
really.
button mid-spin to chain.
And this is the version that Kadakawa
This
pushed.
drains flight energy, so be careful.
This is what got released to, like, reviewers. This is what they kind of thought Rodea was like.
Okay, the path is clear.
And they were
Rainbow
kind
marker
of
is my next destination.
annoyed at how dated it felt.
Now, let's talk about charging.
And I think that is
Good for flying
like,
to
the
specific
biggest
spots.
problem
Hold down the
is
jump
that
button, and I'll immediately
for
start the
a
charge.
game in
Use the
2015,
reticle to
just
select
the
the
entirety
target and
of this
release
is
the button
just
to fly.
unacceptable.
Be careful.
Visually,
Limit to how long I can
it's
hold a
unacceptable.
charge.
It looks
Is that? It is.
like just a
Princess
sharp
Cecilia!
PS2 game. And heck, not even
More to go.
late PS2, we're talking early PS2 here. And just the Wii version looks so much better. It's just like, how do you get it that wrong? How do you get a game to look worse on a HD console? How? I don't get
One
it.
attack won't do anything. I'll just have to keep attacking.
But that is the tutorial done, and as you can already tell, just I am not impressed.
The key of time. I managed to retrieve it.
We gotta get you help.
The Emperor of Naga. He intends to use this.
I mean, I don't know whether the audio quality is slightly better in the Wii U version, but then
Princess.
that might just be that they managed... Well, they didn't have to compress it, so to speak,
Don't let us get away.
which they probably did have to do for the Wii version.
That may be. But you can still escape.
Huh? What are you saying?
But then, if you look like the subtitles,
Gonna leave you here?
they're just really, really awkwardly
Take this
at the bottom. Like, they just needed to shift it, like,
key of time will not
a
hurt.
few millimetres up
We
to make
will
it look
save
right,
this
but just something about that placement looks wrong.
I don't want to
Like,
be alone.
that line there, that looks fine.
in order.
Whenever they get to two lines,
Respect.
it gets
know-
too low.
I'm not some unfeeling robot. I have a heart like you. The heart that you gave me, Princess.
It's just like,
Won't do
good
it.
grief.
I won't
Guys.
follow that order.
Thank you,
How do you cock up subtitle placement?
Rodea.
Really?
And I promise you, we will save Garuda together. Farewell, Rodea. Bye.
Cecilia! No. If this is a heart.
And then, because obviously people are incapable of understanding the plot of Rodea, somehow they decided, yes, it is necessary to give you a exposition crawl. Talking about kind of Emperor Gyardo and Naga and Garuda and stuff. And they just straight up say, Princess Cecilia, daughter of Gyardo, was distraught over the selfish war of aggression. Like, the way the Wii version works is that you don't really know who Princess Cecilia is, and it's only when you get kind of pretty much right to the last level that you realise that Cecilia was Gyardo's daughter and that he gave up everything, including his own daughter, to take over Garuda and essentially try and save Naga. So this just sort of ruins that element of surprise and mystery. And it's just like, come on, we're not dumb. The Wii version doesn't necessarily tell its narrative in the best possible way, but it doesn't treat you like you're thick. And I feel that that's what this exposition crawl does. And there's very little reason for it to do so. And then after that's done, we're really randomly gonna get a quick time event against Dio Gordam.
Just ahead. I can't let it get past me.
In a sort of weird dream thing. Also, that line was definitely not spoken. That wasn't just me. I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, they managed to include quick time events in this game. And, like, they seem to have shifted up the story a little bit and moved things around, and it's just like, eh? It's just like, I don't know quite why you decided this was necessary. And also, you know that there is a massive problem with a game when even the thing that says loading struggles to move properly. Like, it just judders. And then finally get to going. It's just like, really? You can't even get your loading bar to work properly. Good God.
Hey, can you hear my voice? Whoa, he stood up.
And also just, what is going on with that bloom?
Garuda, the Sky Kingdom.
I mean, essentially the reason that... just look at that level. It's hideous. Like, so horrendously hideous and washed out and gross. I mean, the reason for that is because this is based on the 3DS version, which is ultimately and always was going to be worse looking than the Wii version.
I wonder if your
but
memory was erased.
it's just, it looks so bad.
In the desert, after all.
And
then you've got just this really washed out bloom. And even the character art, and you're just like, Ion, you don't look well.
So, how does it feel? Rodea, we will save Garuda together.
Right. My name is
And I mean, like,
Rodea.
well, the cutscene bars are quite cool with that gear effect. They don't really do a whole lot.
So your name is Rodea.
And now we're going to hear the really real insane chattiness of Ion in this version. I'm pretty sure that it's the same in the 3DS version. You can actually... well, this is how bad it is in this game. There is an option in the options menu of how chatty Ion is throughout the game. So you can make her chattier than this. You can also shut her up, which is quite nice because
Open the menu on the main
it
map.
really does just seem excessive.
Gravitons are Garuda's specialty. Just fly near them to collect them.
And I mean, if you think back to when we played the first level, just think about how slow this is in comparison. And how boring, because you're just sitting here
That bell is a checkpoint.
waiting
Charge at it to make it
for
fly.
the game to move along.
Start over from
And also
the
look,
you messed up. So
in the Wii version, you got to this checkpoint and you could just bong it and Ion just kept talking. Wii U version and 3DS version, Ion purposefully stops you from hitting the thing by entering you into a cutscene, and then you have to bong the bell. I mean, they did shift things up slightly in the Wii U version by trying to make it more about exploration. So it's all about kind of taking it slow through levels and finding everything that's hidden about.
looks like Rodea's in good tradition.
but when it just feels this slow and dull, it's just kind of just like, eh. It's like, I want to be able to stay in the air. Why won't you let me stay in the air? And you spend so much time falling that you're just like,
Beyond my flight range. How can I?
So yes, if you can kind of watch this and say, yes, this was an excellent thing to do to Rodea, I really don't understand how your brain works. I really don't, because the game design choices that have been made here are fundamentally flawed, because the original Wii version of the game was designed, well, the levels were designed with freedom of movement as a major thing.
Good.
So you are always able to get to wherever you want to go. You just have to point there and you can fly there. And it's all about the flow, so to speak. Whereas Kadokawa looked at that and thought, yes, let's use exactly the same level design, but completely change up the mechanics by going with this. I understand that for the 3DS version they had to make changes because you can't have the pointer working with that. But then, if you think about it, what they could have done, and what might have been actually a lot easier, would be using the touchscreen controls like the Wiimote pointer.
Wow.
So you kind of move the reticle around and kind of flick towards things, perhaps. I mean, I still think that it would have been finicky on the 3DS, but I think that fundamentally that would have been a more accurate representation of Rodea's gameplay, and that would have transitioned more nicely.
Oh, crud. It's Grandpa.
I mean, what would have been better would have been that they had ported the Wii version to the Wii U, and so you were playing with a Wiimote, and so none of that mattered. But obviously Kadokawa were greedy and thought, no, we do not need to give Probe any credit for the game they have created. Let's just shill our own thing. Just, it disgusts me. Like, there are very few games and so on that make me angry, and very few situations that make me very angry. But this is one of them. I mean, the other examples of things that really, really annoy me are Epic Mickey, and how much of a disappointment that game is. Sticker Star, that was another one that makes me very angry.
That's pretty wild.
And I actually can't remember what the other game was that made me just... Ugh. Might have been Sonic Chronicles, because that game was awful as well. Those are 3 examples of games where I'm just like, that just... they're terrible. And now, what happened to Rodea is amongst those issues. Because, as I'm sure you've been able to see from the Wii version, there is a good game there, with a relatively reasonable story, but this is just... ugh. I mean, what they've essentially tried to do in the Wii U version, to carry over from the 3DS, is they've gone with this cartoon filter, almost. So, I mean, if you look at shadows within the levels, they're like lines rather than actual shadows. And then it's also in the cutscenes where they are very plasticky looking, more so than they were originally. and it's just kind of like, oh. So, I mean, what they did in the 3DS version was that they cel-shaded everything, just so that obviously it was less taxing on the 3DS and more defined. But here it just looks odd, and it looks ugly. So nobody wins in the end. But there we go, that is a level done, and it's time to have a look at what's waiting for us on the world map. Because they have a world map. Because that is necessary. I mean, it's basically the chapter select, but it's much more... There's a lot more going on, shall we say. Because what you may have noticed is that you can pick up items which you then use to upgrade, and you kind of can view statuses and just... There's a whole leveling up system by defeating enemies and upgrading things, and this is the only way that you're going to really be able to progress. So essentially what's going to end up happening at some point is that you're going to be too weak to be able to actually deal with enemies and bosses. At which point it's just like, well, that's awful, because then you're going to have to go back into the levels to find items to be able to upgrade, to be able to progress. And look, you weren't even able to fly in an arc. You weren't even able to cling to a wall until you upgrade. Like, how does that make sense? It doesn't. That's the answer. And also, the characters just don't shut up. Like, at least in the Wii version they had the decency not to be constantly talking. And then randomly, look, here's Tonio. We haven't even met Tonio yet. Why is he talking to us? And then we're going to meet Sonia in a minute, and it's just like, what? It just drives me insane. I mean, what's particularly frustrating is that this game essentially does have a use for the legacy medals, because there's this unlock area, which, okay, fair enough, this is a nice inclusion. But, like, there are moves here to be unlocked, which is just like, what?
What would you like to unlock?
And also you have to clear certain chapters and be certain levels and just... And then these Ticket Island things, and oh, I don't know. But just, and look, Ion's chattiness, they needed an option for that. Why? I mean, like, then you've got the thing with the gamepad where you can have, either have the Ion wave or the game screen playing. Oof. I don't know why you'd want the... well, I don't know why you'd need either, really, because neither helps. But that is everything that I'm going to show you with Rodea Wii U, because there is no need to show you any more. That pretty much does display the fundamental problems with the gameplay ideas for this version, and just why it's so awful in comparison to the Wii version. Like, ugh. But either way, this brings me to the end of my Rodea the Sky Soldier playthrough. If you want to see any footage going on the 3DS version, you'll have to check out the co-commentary of this game that I'll be doing on Hellfire Comms. But no more here. I think I am done. I hope you've enjoyed my Rodea the Sky Soldier playthrough, and I hope you join me for the next one. See you then.